Hi everybody out there, Mark Mannering here from Class Training with another 3-minute Thursdays. 3 tips in 3 minutes, more or less. And this time we're going to look at 3 big tips on how to run macros in your Excel files, let alone record them. You have to record them first, obviously, but 3 big tips on how to run the macros. So with the my example file here, the first big tip to run your macros is to use buttons on the quick access toolbar. You can also use buttons on the spreadsheet there, and I've got a couple of keyboard shortcuts already set up, just displayed there to remind me. So if I use one of the buttons here, the button on the toolbar here says monthly cash flow report. I just go click and it just runs the macro. In this case, it's doing a pivot table report onto a new sheet. I'll go back to the raw data. There's my other way to run the macro as part of this first tip. I've got some buttons on the actual spreadsheet, a bit easier to see. So when I click this button here, it actually runs that same macro, and there it is there running again. Go back to the raw data. Let's use my keyboard shortcut as part of this first tip. I'll just change one of the figures here first though. I'll change this to 50 or 500,000, a little bit more realistic for bank charges. And I've got Control-Shift-M for my monthly cash flow that I've made up. Control-Shift-M. Run that, and there's the macro running again, this time with the new data, and away we go, back to there. So that's part of your first tip. Now, the second big tip for how to run your macros is to give the macro name, when you record it, a special name called Auto Open. You can only have one macro called Auto Open in your file. I've already got it here. If I click File, and this file here has a macro in it called Auto Open. So when I click and open this file, that Auto Open macro runs automatically. And in this example, it's running some message boxes. It says here, current date and time will be entered. Click OK to continue. I say, okay, righto, click that, and the macro runs as well, or continues to run, and there's my current date and time automatically entered. As part of this macro, there's another message box. I can say current time, current date and time entered. I say, yep, okay, good, thanks for the confirmation. And the third and final tip on how to run your macros is to associate code, or the so-called macro code, with clicking the particular sheet. I'm on the raw data sheet in this other file of mine, and when I click the report sheet here, it's already activated to run the macro code. So just by clicking report here, for example, it runs the macro, and as part of this macro, I've got some more message boxes coming up, this time with yes and no options. All pivot table reports will be updated. Do you want to proceed? Well, no, I don't. I'll just say no, and it says, okay, it's not updated. So part of this macro are those really good user-friendly message boxes. If I go back to my raw data, let's change Davison here, for example, to 5 million, like that. So I've changed the raw data, and I should see those pivot tables update when I click the report tab again. Can be any name that you give this report sheet, but again, clicking that activates the macro code. Again, would you like to proceed? Yes, I do this time. And as part of this macro, it refreshes all those pivot tables, which we sort of covered in another pivot table session we've done previously. They are all done. Okay, there you go. Some nice quick ways to run your macros. I bet you're thinking, how do we do all this? How do you record the macros and then set those up, the way to run those macros? We cover this in our next live session coming up with macros, Excel macros, and have a look over here or down there for the link, or is it over there? I'm not sure. Anyway, hope to see you on that great session that shows you all this and more. So just keep in touch. Look at the website for when those dates are coming up for that session, and we'll see you then, hopefully. Mark Mannering signing off until next time. See you again. Have a good day. Bye.